Dr. Steve Buchanan, the developer of the GTX obturators, demonstrates their use in this clinical case.
The GTX obturator is selected, having the same tip size and taper as the GTX file shape cut in each canal. The surplus gutta perch at the shank end is broken off and the stop is set 1 millimeter short of working length. The sealer is mixed, and after drying the canal with 2 or 3 GT paper points, another paper point is lightly coated with sealer as a method of applying it to the canal walls. Then 2 or 3 dry paper points are used to blot the sealer from the lumen of the canal to minimize surplus extrusion of sealer during placement of the obturator. After heating the prepared GTX obturator in the oven, I like to use the longest heating cycle for all sizes of obturators. I grasp the obturator shank with a hemostat and slowly, over 6 to 8 seconds, place it to length in the mesiolingual canal. Faster introduction will cause surplus gutta percha to be unnecessarily extruded from the terminus of the canal. While surplus filling material will seldom cause clinical problems, it is certainly a less aesthetic outcome. Next, sealer is applied to the mesiobuccal canal as the GTX obturator for that canal is heated. Dry paper points are again used to blot surplus sealer until they are spotted with sealer rather than coated with sealer. The preheated 2006 GTX obturator is now brought in and slowly placed to length. While holding the GTX obturator handles to steady them, a 1.2 millimeter preppy burr in a high-speed handpiece is used to sever the carrier shanks at the orifice level of the canals. GT paper points are used to dry the ovoid distal canal. Then, as the GTX obturators for that canal are being heated, the canal is again coated with sealer and the surplus sealer is blotted with successive paper points. The preheated 4010 GT obturator is grasped in the hemostat. In this case, I have broken off the handle for better visibility, a strategy that is helpful when filling posterior teeth. Again, a slow, steady introduction is necessary here. Prior to cutting the carrier, I like to carefully pull off the stop with cotton pliers to improve visibility and to make room for the second obturator that I'm placing in this ovoid canal. It is critical to hold the carrier shank steady with another pliers to prevent its dislodgement. And here's the second carrier being placed, after which the stop is again pulled off in preparation for cutting the carriers at the orifice level. This mirror view of the access cavity after the carriers have all been cut and the cavity has been cleansed with chloroform shows an ideal setup for the post-endodontic core buildup to follow. Notice how smoothly the preppy burrs cut the carriers at the orifice level. And here are the post-operative radiographs. A great result. What you can see is a very dense fill in all canals with exceptional apical accuracy. That's provided by the system-based match of the obturators to the GTX file shapes, as well as to the careful application and blotting of sealer and the slow placement of these obturators.